Good morning. It is August, I believe the 15th, 2015. The last video I made was last year. And since then, we've made a lot of changes to our nursery. And I just wanted to show you some of our modifications and some things that we're trying. And hopefully they'll work out well for us. And then I'm going to show you how the berries from last year did, from our rootings did last year. So what we did this year, we're going to try something new. First of all, this is our misting system. A lot of people ask me about the misting system. And again, I'll explain the reason the misting system is on such an angle is that when it sprays, I do not want the water to run out of it. I want it to be able to be pretty instantaneous. And because we only spray for 4 seconds. This is our misting control system here. The red valve is used to shut off this section of nozzles. The black valve is actually used in the wintertime when we shut the water and everything off. I'll open that valve up and it'll drain all the water out of all of the lines. And then the bottom half, where your 24-volt valve's at going into your ground, is going to be insulated before wintertime. And the red valve, of course, is your primary shut-off valve coming into the nursery. This year, our nursery's smaller than it was last year. What I've got is I got an overhead PVC pipe going to the secondary set of nozzles. The shutoff valve for that nozzle is there. These nozzles is there. And then we have another group of nozzles onto this particular bed. Now, I have to correct myself. I made a statement in one of my videos that I bought from Tractor Supply my nozzles in packages of, there we go, we got spray. In packages of 6, and that wasn't a mistake on my part. They come in packages of 3. A young man sent me an email and told me he found them at Tractor Supply, but they only came in packs of 3 and that they didn't make packs of 6, and he's absolutely correct. They only come in packages of 3s. But they're great little nozzles. Every once in a while they'll get plugged, and it's real simple. You just unscrew it, take the trash out of it, put the cap back on, and as you can see, just since today, our timers start at 9 in the morning. They turn off at 5 at night, I believe, or 6 at night. I have to look at the program. We have a pretty good coverage. Now, what we're going to use this year, we're going to try V-trays. We're going to put some cuttings in these V-trays, and there's approximately 450. Well, actually, there's 450 V-trays. And the reason we're going to try this is last year we had so many blueberries, so many plants that rooted, that the roots ran together, and as we were trying to separate the plant from each other, we were tearing the roots, and we were breaking the roots, and we were actually, although we had a very good success rate on rooting them, we damaged our own plants, not intentionally, but we damaged them. This side, we're going to do the conventional blueberries side by side, but we're going to separate them 2 inches apart opposed to being 1 inch apart. And these will be powder blues, Brightwells, and Premiers. That's what we're going to have in our greenhouses this year. Alrighty, now that we've looked at this, let's go to the nursery, and I want to show you what actually was the result from last year's video, which turned out to be, I think you'll be very impressed with it. So, alrighty, these are the results from 2013's cuttings, and these are 2014 cuttings, and these are 2014 cuttings. So you can see that it is very possible for you to be able to propagate and grow your own blueberry plants. Alright, we're going back to the orchard now, and we're going to take some cuttings and bring them back up to the greenhouse and show you how we do it. Thank you very much. We'll be back. And the first 3 rows to the left are the Premiers, and I want to tell you right now, I've never seen plants grow like this. These are beautiful plants. This is what we're going to be cutting back today in order to get our cuttings. Also, we're going to be taking powder blues and some Brightwells, but if you could look at the growth just since January of 2015, which is this is It's August the 15th right now. The tremendous growth that we have is fantastic. We use 14-28-14 fertilizer, and we also use a product called DAP, which is diammonium phosphorus, which is very good. It's the way we remember it is it's for roots and fruits, and it works. Anyways, this is where we're going to be taking some cuttings at, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. Let me get set up. I've got everything that I need, and we'll start getting some cuttings. All right, what I brought with me today to retrieve my cuttings, I've got a styrofoam container that I'm going to use as I collect my cuttings, and I'm going to store the cuttings in the styrofoam containers. And we have water sources out here on the orchard, but it's through our irrigation systems, and so without having to activate our entire irrigation systems, I've brought 2 5-gallon buckets of water with me that we'll use. Well, actually I brought more than 5 gallons. I've also got a styrofoam container here that we're going to use. What we'll do when we do the cuttings is we'll dip the cuttings down into this water, making sure we're keeping them moist, and we'll put them into this container. Now, one thing I want to tell you, if you can notice, and you might not be able to, but I'm going to try to get a picture. If you can notice the moisture that are on these cuttings. By the way, it's 6:30 in the morning. This is not something that you want to do 2 o'clock. Well, now, let me rephrase it. You can take your cuttings anytime you want to. If you want to do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when it's 90, 95, 100 degrees, that's your choice. The only problem with that is that they're going to dry out on you real fast. If you'll notice, we have a lot of moisture on the leaves. Remember, we're getting ready to remove the only source of moisture that these plants have is through the roots, through the skin, and through the leaves. That's the only way they can get water and nutrients. We're getting ready to take the roots away from them. So we want to make sure that we keep the leaves on them, and we want to make sure that we keep them wet until we can get them up into the beds where we're going to be able to plant them and then put some water on them. So with that said, let me get my pruning shears and I'll start taking some cuttings. Now, I've had several individuals who've commented on on my orchards, and I thank them. It takes a lot of work to keep orchards straight and clean, and you will notice that, get out of the sun, that the bottoms of the orchards, or the bottom of the plants, have been cleaned up a lot. Grass reasons and harvest reasons is why we do it. But what we do is I do a very light mixture of Roundup around the base of the plants. And then we use pine mulch. And the acidity helps keep the growth of grass to a minimal, so you can tell. And everybody's going to have a grass issue. You can't get away with grass. Grass is just a pest. But with that said, let's look at this plant for an example. I'm gonna go on the other side of the plant because I'm recording into the sun. You can notice that you have your dark green leaves. Your dark green leaves are your 1, 2, 3 year old growths. But then as you back out, you start seeing a lot of your light color. Your light color is what we're going to be cutting. However, you don't want to just take and cut all of your brand new cuttings or all your brand new growth off your plant, because you do want your plant to grow. This particular plant, if you look down the row of plants, is at a good height. What I'll do is I want to keep the top part of this plant about this height. That's about the height of the, as you can see in the background, the golf cart. So where I would cut it at to get my cutting is I would simply cut it right here. Just cut. And that's my cutting. And that's where I'm going to be taking a lot of my cuttings from, be off the tops and off the sides. Now, I'm not going to stand here and record 500 cuttings. We're going to take 450 cuttings of the powder blues today. But I want to just give you an idea. You're not only just taking cuttings, but you're also pruning your plants. Now here's a plant growth that's coming out the side. What I would do is come in somewhere around here, cut it back up from the plant so you can see where I'm cutting. Now if you notice, looking down the plant, you've got growth that's growing outward. If it grows far enough out, you're not going to be able to cut your grass. You're not going to be able to move up and down the rows. So we always make sure we cut those. And all you simply do is just come in and just snip off and now you notice that the plant is not protruding outward as much as it was. And yes, every single solitary one of those cuttings will be used to make plants with. Alright, let me get some. Okay, I have got a group of cuttings cut and I've dipped them into the water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them back to the length that I want them to be. But what I wanted to show you, this particular long one can actually be cut up into multiple lengths as long as you make sure that the direction is the right way. So let me cut some up and then I'll show you my results. What I've done when I take my cuttings, what I'm doing a little different this year than I normally do is in this container, you'll see the water, I'm sticking the cuttings, and I want you to look at the size of these cuttings. These cuttings are just astronomical, but that's what good fertilizer, good maintenance on your plants will do. But just to give you an example, this growth is from January 2015 and today is only August 15th. So you can see the amount of growth. Well, what I'll do, hold that please.
Yes, sir.
What I'm going to do, I want you to follow my fingers, please.
Trying.
What I'll do is I'm going to come, I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to start removing leaves. Now I get to a little offshoot, break it off, break it off, break it off. I'm pretty well run. Now that is
Dang.
that was grown from this year's spring of this year. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take my hand as a guide. Put it right here, please.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to cut one. I'm going to cut two. I'm going to cut 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 cuttings.
Hang on, I messed up. It went to another one. Okay, I got it. It went zoom in by accident.
I've got 7 cuttings out of one branch. So we'll just set that right there for a second. What I'm going to do,
Turn it off.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another branch out. Now this was the head. This was a head to a plant. This actually sat on top of the plant. You can see the growth. I believe I'm zoomed in here. Let me get unzoomed. You can see the growth from that head. So what I'm going to do, hold that right there, please. Get your fingers from me. There you go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove what I don't want. So just wait a second. Cut the little ones off. But could use, but I'm not going to use. That one's long enough. And then I'm going to separate them all. So I'm just going to squeeze them together and cut them off. And then I'm going to try to separate everything into individual cuttings. You can see just from the top of this one plant. Now you can use that for a cutting also. And that one can be used for a cutting also. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start taking, and you can do them, you need to do them gingerly because you don't want to really break your plants up. We'll go to the top. And I'm going to start taking the leaves off. And again, remember, this came off the top of one 3-year-old plant. Well, 4-year-old plant. It was planted at a year old, but it's been growing. We've been maintaining it for only 3 years. So here's what we've got off the top of one plant. So I'm going to even up the bottoms of them. Hold that group right there in your hand, please.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to cut them approximately. I use my hand as a gauge. Cut them approximately here, here, and you may have some short ones that fall out, and that's okay. And then we'll cut them off here. On that particular cutting, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Make sure you don't turn them upside down. You want the buds up. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The way you can tell the way the branch goes. So if you don't want to accidentally turn it upside down, is you want to look to see which way the nodes are growing. Your node wants to grow upward towards the sun. So that's how you want your node to be. I need two more cuttings. We'll take a little piece, cut it back, 24, and we'll take another one, which will be about the right length. That'll make my 25th cutting. I'll cut it off. Alright. And that's a bundle of 25. Alright, we've gotten 450 cuttings. We've cut them in size. We've taken the leaves off of them. Got a couple of extra ones. And now we're going to carry them up to the greenhouse so that we can start with. Alrighty, we are back at the nursery with our cuttings. And what I did is I've allowed the misters to make the soils wet, and simply don't want to plant them in dry soil. So you can see I got 450 cubicles on my trays here that we're going to be putting the premiers in. We've got 450 premiers right here, and we're soaking them in a little bit of water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an object such as this round little peg. I'm going to poke holes just down like this. That's all I'm going to do. Poke holes. And once I'm done doing that, I'm going to come back with the cuttings. I'm just going to stick the cuttings down in the holes. While I'm doing this, I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to break my runes when I try to put them in. Second of all is I want to make sure as I'm putting them in the ground, I'm not wiping the hormone off the bottom of it. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back when I've got a tray done, and we'll load a tray up and be right back. Alrighty, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get me a group of plants or cuttings out of the water, and they're in groups of 50, and this is where this particular tray is going to go. We use Take Root, and it's on our website if you want to look to see how to get a hold of it. But those are our cuttings. What I'll do is I'm going to unbundle them and pretty well just dip them into the hormone. So let me set my camera up. So what I'll do is I'll take my cuttings, I'll set them down. What you want to do is real simple. Is just take the cutting, dip it in your root tone, and remember the hole that I put in it. I'll dip it, and then just put it in the hole that I made earlier, making sure these aren't upside down. Dip it, put it in, and that's what we're going to do for 450 plants. So let me get to doing that, and I'll get back with you. Thank you. Alright, I had to take a break. My back was starting to bother me a little bit, but you can see I've got 200 of the premieres. Let's get a close-up. I've left leaves on some, and I'm using some fat stock on some, and I'm using some skinny stock on some. And I'm also using multiple stock, which means it has a Y on it or some type of off branch, because I'm trying to see what's going to be the best for our area for rooting. But anyways, here's 250 more to go. Thank you. Alrighty, we have finally put 450 Premier blueberries cuttings in our box. We are using trays this year. We've never done this before, but I think it's going to be pretty good. It didn't take any less time or didn't take any more time as far as putting them in the boxes, but we're limited to only 450 per box. There we go, we got spray. Mister just came on, that's great. Good. It'll be doing that all day long, every 10 minutes for 4 seconds. What I did, once I put the plants, the cuttings in here, as I took a pair of scissors and I've snipped a lot of the top leaves off of them. I've done them with leaves and I've done them without leaves. So we're kind of doing a couple of different things this year just to see what kind of successful rate we're having. All the cuttings have a Take Root hormone. We're using that. Some of them we're putting a certain distance into the soil. Some of them were put a little bit shallower, a little bit deeper. Some have the leaves and some don't have the leaves. So yeah, it's just a hit and miss. About 3 years now, and we've rooted quite a bit of plants that have actually been very pretty. I've got instructions on the website on what we did, how we did it, and it's in writing. It's a PDF file. You're welcome to get online and go to the nursery page. You can download it on how to do cuttings. But we wish you the best of luck with your cuttings. If you have any questions, please email me, or you can give me a call, and I'll be more than glad to see if I can help you. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be cutting again. We're going to be getting the Brightwells and the Powder Blues, but it's getting too hot now. Like I say, you do not want to cut during the hot part of the day unless you just absolutely want to try to kill your plants. Alrighty. Have a good day from Happy Acres Farm.